Welcome back. Another edition of Build Your Legacy, and this is going to be the final episode in
our series,
our growth series.
There you go.
How you been?
I'm good, man. Knocking this one out. Hopefully, people know how to grow by the time we're done, huh?
I hope so, right? And yeah, I mean that's the goal of this.
Just give them ideas, right? We can't make it happen. Or just get people thinking. Just get them, maybe holding themselves accountable. Get them thinking.
Well, if you're like me, I mean, some of my best ideas come from. Well, some of what I believe are my best ideas. But it comes from hearing others and listening to others and
taking their ideas.
Yeah. I mean, look, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
right. I'm not too proud to admit when I quote unquote steal something from somebody.
Yeah, look, and we certainly have books up here. I think all of them have been read, and more should be up there. We probably should take some out and put new ones on. But I think that's the same thing, right? We're just whether you're reading a book that is a business book or you're reading a book, just a book, you can get an idea and, come with the idea that, you're just maybe taking from a book.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I mean, I love World War II and specifically like the Pacific Theater of the World War II. And, I listen and read a lot of different books, from a leadership perspective, from those guys way back when and what they were doing and dealing with and try to learn something from it.
Life or death there, man.
Yeah, very much so.
So there you go. Well, let's rock on with our last growth series episode.
Last growth series episode. And I think what we wanted to kind of come back today with was a lot of our growth series so far, I would say, has been more externally focused in some ways. Okay. And those are great. Those are important, right? But you want to have the right foundation, I guess is the best way to put it. So we wanted to talk a little bit about in some ways internally investing in your business.
I call it inside baseball, like this, like when you're inside the shop.
Yeah. How do we make internal investments to help grow? I think there's a few different avenues to that. There's the, what I call, and I don't know if it's the right word, like the hard investments, as far as like systems, technology, stuff like that. But then there's also some soft or culture-based investments you can make in staff members that are extremely important to help grow.
Well, yeah. So let's hit on the investing in the technology, the AI, the whatever the word is. Today there are so many tools that you can buy right now that could help you grow, speed you up. Just make you better.
Yeah.
And I think that's something simple, and there's a million of them. So we're not here to tell you which one's
the right one for you, right? We've got some partners that we work with.
Yeah, we do got some cool partners, actually.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of that is coming from our members telling us what benefits them and how it's helped them be more efficient, more effective in their day-to-day operations. And the key with that, especially in today's marketplace, is that repetitive work can, to your point, slow you down, right? But it also can create burnout within the business.
Yeah, it can.
And so if you can invest in those tools or that technology, work smarter, not harder, right? And avoid those scenarios. I mean, that of burnout, I think that's a sound investment to make.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about people that are comfortable in the previous episode. Yeah. And I think this is where, with technology and the speed of it right now, it starts with the management system, and then it's all the add-ons that help your agency. Is you can't be comfortable with just what your system is doing and, hey, it's fine.
Right.
And I hope it's just fine. Now it is, okay, how do we make that system like really run? And how do we get things integrated into the system? How do we get things that are outside the system and the tech side?
Well, I mean, we talked about it on a previous episode, know your numbers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of analytical tools out there now in today's day and age that make knowing those numbers really easy.
That's right.
And can give you some great insights on, where there's potential problems, where there's opportunity. It makes knowing those numbers easier, but it also gives you more power in those numbers as well. So I mean, those are strong investments to make to make sure you're heading in the right direction.
I mean, so when I segue here into the next item that I believe, it's going to tag into this technology piece as well, but it is education. Let's keep on the tech side for just a second with the education piece. You have systems. Most everybody has management systems. They either do or they will. I mean, it's kind of one of those vital organs, of an agency. You can't run it without it.
You can't run it without it. No, to be honest with you, from a carrier perspective, if you don't have it, that's a black mark on your record.
So you have a system. You will have a system. But utilizing the system to its full potential is a different conversation, because sometimes you just buy the system for the checkbox. They buy it to do some of the basic functionalities. Now, what I'm going to say as we get into the education piece of investing is invest in education.
On your systems.
Yeah, well, that's the first one. Since we were talking about systems anyways, is you need to educate yourself. I do believe start with the system, since we're talking about technology.
Bill, I sit across from agents, not every day, but 3 or 4 days a week. And I will tell you, when it comes to systems, the first thing they say is, yeah, we're using this. We're probably not using it as good or as much as we should, or how it's intended to be used, right? And to me, that's an investment you've made that you're not realizing the full return on, because you're not, to your point, investing that time in educating yourself, educating your staff, whoever it might be, on what the full capabilities of that system are. And we talk about all these tools, but in today's day and age, let's be honest, a lot of these systems, like a management system, they've got a lot of bells and whistles,
tons of them,
that you really don't have to step outside that investment to
do a lot of things.
Do a lot of things. And so, I think that's a great point. Invest in, hey, you make that investment in the system, make sure you're investing the time on the education side,
right,
to know the systems and know what they're truly fully capable of.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, now let's get off of technology. We've talked about technology enough, but let's continue the education piece, man. I'm telling you, there's so much there that people can learn if they would get out of their comfortable couch. We said on the
stop watching The Godfather.
one of the last episodes. Man, education's key.
Listen, we talked about confidence in a previous episode, right? And knowing your product, knowing what you're doing. Education raises that level of professionalism, which ultimately breeds confidence for you, for your staff, and it breeds confidence in your client base and your centers of influence, right? You can never stop learning. You always have to be investing in the growth and
get out of the comfort. Yeah,
get out of the comfort.
It's and so we have some cool things. I know we have the BIA program that's education, and some of the things we have don't cost. So when we say invest, it's investment of time,
right?
I do think people should invest money in certain things, but we've got, it looks like we're going to schedule something in September for Jerry Thacker to come down. So that's still a ways away, but that won't cost our members either. And that's to help them educate themselves or their employees on commercial line sales. So there's so much things that we offer, as long as they will invest the time.
Right.
There are certainly tons of designation programs out there and other education pieces for staff to help them become better, to be more confident. That will cost time and money.
Right.
But is that a vital investment to help grow? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the other side of that investment is, we've talked a lot in a lot of different episodes about competing for talent, right? And, we want to be in position to give people careers, not jobs. Right. And we talk about comfortability, being comfortable. Yeah, you're comfortable as an agent. And if you're not making these investments in their staffs and you're not growing and that revenue's not increasing, well, at some point, that individual that's working for you is going to be uncomfortable, whether it's, like you've said previously, inflation's real, cost of living's real. They might not be comfortable in their current situation, aspiring for more. If you're not providing and investing in them to give them those tools to do it, that employee's leaving at some point.
Yeah.
Right. And so you've got to make that investment in some ways for the culture of the organization.
Well, I think there's two things, right? You need to make the investment to better the employee and their knowledge base and how they operate. And so it hits all these buckets that we've just been talking about. But I think you just hit it too, is how do they invest in culture for the agency, for the agency.
Yeah. And, I had a conversation here recently with one of our members, and they had hired a new employee, brought him in, trained him, developed him, and then the employee actually took another job with a different agency, right?
Okay.
And they were in some ways deterred by it, right? I invested this time, I invested these dollars, and and they left me, and I understand that, right?
Yeah.
But the other side to look at this is, okay, if you're making these investments and it does lead to somebody going on somewhere else for a different opportunity in their career, whether it's more money, location, whatever it might be, you know what? That's still a good investment for you, right? Because you've helped that person grow, you've helped that person achieve success to where someone else wanted to employ them in some fashion.
Yeah, and that is a tough one to swallow, but you would hope that instead of looking at it from the negative light, to you're saying, is you're going, I did all the right things. Maybe it was the wrong person. Like something there wasn't right between us, but maybe you do take, I did the right things. I invested the right way. Now maybe I should have done X, Y, Z better so that person stayed. But don't use that as a deterrent.
Right.
I guess.
And that was, you're doing the right things. And guess what? Other people are going to see that, which means there's going to be more opportunity for you to hire that right person.
Or maybe that guy boomerangs back or the young lady or whoever it was that this person was sharing, because it may be, the grass is greener over there. And then they get over there and
they realize it's not.
Really, the grass isn't greener. I had it good where I was at.
Yeah.
And so maybe, that's a pain point. Would you take that person back? Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what the terms were, but at least it goes back. You invested in them, to your point.
And I think from my personal perspective, I share the story because I do think there's agents that are hesitant and agency owners hesitant to make investments in staff for that fear of losing somebody. Yeah. And I would say that's the wrong way to look at it, because it's not a lost investment, right?
No, it's not. I mean, I think you got to do it. If you're losing people after that, then look somewhere else to why you're losing them. Don't look at what you're doing there.
Right. Yeah. If you're making those investments and you're helping them grow and it leads to them leaving eventually, hey, that's not a reason to stop doing it.
I think what that tells, which you said this a few times, something let's jump to, is to me, you're investing in them in their education.
Correct.
Where you may be missing is in the culture.
It's fair.
And so that might be the piece that, hey, how do you invest in the culture? Now, most of the people we're talking to aren't private equity, aren't tech firms. They don't have ping pong tables and foosball tables,
right,
and beer on tap. I'm not saying that you have to do that to bring a culture.
Right.
There's other things you can do, and we certainly aren't the one to tell you, hey, this is what you do, because the culture should come from the agency.
And every agency is different.
Every agency is different. Again, you go to a tech firm in the Raleigh-Durham or probably over in California, they probably do have ping pong tables in there. It's probably loud. It's got couches. It's just a different environment.
Yeah.
That's their culture. They know what they need for those employees. As an insurance agency, that doesn't need to be the culture necessarily.
Not necessarily, but you've got to fit a culture to, going back to, when we talk about prospects, right? When we're looking to hire, we want to hire people we want to do business with, right? We can pick and choose that. So you build a culture geared toward who you want to work with.
Yeah.
Right. And, I do think there are some things that help build that culture, as far as, being open,
about, just open and honest for sure.
Yeah. Open and honest about, what the goals are for the organization, what you're trying or where you're trying to get the organization to get to. And then also sharing, hey, by achieving these goals, by doing these things, how does that benefit you, the employee, right? Because I think a lot of times agents keep that internally to themselves and don't necessarily share that. And it creates some, discomfort within the ranks, so to speak.
Well,
because they don't know where they're going.
And even that in empowering the employee and the ideas that they bring. We see agencies, like you said, 3-4 times a week, really 5 days a week. You're just maybe in their office 3 or 4 times a week. The agency owner cannot know everything.
Yes.
Maybe if they're really, really small and they're just starting out, yeah, maybe so. But as they grow, as they evolve, they don't know every last detail about every last sale and how to sell, or every last certificate, or how to process something.
Yeah.
So in order to get better, I believe you should be empowering the employees to come tell you, and you understand that they may know this better than you.
Yeah.
And even if you're not willing to change, you got to listen to them and make them feel like, okay, I hear you. I disagree with you now, so we're going to stay this way, and this is why. but at least make them feel like their job, they have that ability to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, because if you are that owner that, sort of believes that they know everything, how to do everything, things like that. I mean, listen, there's pieces of your organization that are going to suffer from it. It's going to slow the momentum down of the agency.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. It's going to create an inconsistent experience for your clients and for your employees. But the truth of the matter is it's going to create missed opportunities for you, right? Because, everything relies on you.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's just not a efficient or effective model. And then for you as the owner, eventually it's going to burn you out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a taxing thing to try to do.
Yeah. Mind and body.
Yeah. And so, and that's, we say it on multiple episodes, this is the most valuable asset that you're ever going to own. Why would you ever want to find yourself in a position, burned out by it, right? I mean, hey, we all want to get up in the morning and enjoy what we're doing. And, if you're not empowering others, if you're not, making these style of investments to make life easier, right, in some ways, how are you going to want to do it for a long period of time?
Well, yeah, I don't think you can. So,
and you'll never achieve your full potential.
Yeah. So, man, we talked about investing internally. Culture, we talked about. Education, we talked about.
And those tools.
Technology and the tools. Anything else we're missing that we need to... I mean, there's a million things you could do to invest.
I'm sure there are, but I think these are the three biggest ones.
Okay.
And in some ways, kind of the easiest, broadest ones to look at, and the starting point as well. Right.
There you go. So invest in your people, their education, your education, technology. Yeah. Build a good culture.
Build a good foundation.
Spend the money within.
Yeah. Reap the rewards as you grow.
That's right. All right. Well, look, hit the like button,
subscribe.
Send us a note. Let us know what other topics you want, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
See ya. Thanks for tuning in. You can catch our Build Your Legacy Insurance Edition podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, or send us over a topic recommendation at podcast@siaofnc.com. If you're interested in learning more about what we do, visit us online at www.siaofnc.com. We hope you enjoyed our newest episode. See you next week.